The Bible holds a powerful secret about your relationship with animals, one that could completely transform your spiritual life. From the very beginning of time, God established a sacred bond between humans and animals. It wasn't a coincidence. It was a divine design that continues to impact our lives in ways we can't even imagine. In the book of Genesis, God didn't just create animals. He brought them before Adam to be named. This wasn't a bureaucratic act. It was the beginning of a sacred relationship between humanity and the animal kingdom. Picture that holy moment of creation. God, in His infinite wisdom, infused each creature with a unique and special purpose. And among all His creations, dogs may have received one of the most beautiful gifts of all: the ability to love unconditionally. It's no coincidence that these loyal companions can sense our emotions, knowing when we're sad and need comfort, or when our hearts are bursting with joy and ready to celebrate. God designed them with a special sensitivity, not just as guardians of our homes, but as guardians of our emotional and spiritual well-being. Every joyful bark when we return, every knowing gaze when things aren't right, every act of unwavering loyalty is a living reminder of the divine purpose God placed in them from the beginning. When God created dogs, He gave them gifts that reflect different aspects of His divine love. Think about the diversity of breeds, each one with a unique purpose, each one a manifestation of God's care for humanity. German Shepherds, with their protective instincts, remind us of God's watchful nature. Labradors, with their gentleness and patience with children, mirror the tenderness of our Heavenly Father. Search and rescue dogs, with their courage and determination, reflect how God always seeks out the lost. This sensitivity God gave them goes beyond the physical. Dogs can detect subtle changes in our pheromones and body language, often sensing anxiety before we do. They can detect illness, anticipate seizures, and alert to dangerous blood sugar levels. Isn't this a reflection of how God knows our needs even before we speak them? Dogs are more than pets. They're messengers of divine love, sent to teach us about loyalty, forgiveness, and unconditional love. In the way they love us, we can see a reflection of God's love for us: patient, protective, joyful, and entirely selfless. The righteous care for the needs of their animals, but the kindest acts of the wicked are cruel. Proverbs 12:10. This verse is more than just an instruction on how to treat animals. It's a deep reflection of human character and our connection with God. When it refers to the righteous, it's not just talking about a good person, but about someone who embodies divine values in every action. The sacred bond between humans and dogs isn't exclusive to Christian tradition. Throughout history, many cultures have seen dogs as spiritual beings with a divine purpose. In Egyptian mythology, Anubis, the jackal-headed god, was the guardian of souls on their journey to the afterlife. It was believed dogs could guide the dead to their final destination. In Aztec culture, the Xoloitzcuintli was considered a sacred dog that helped souls cross the river of the underworld. In Hinduism, dogs symbolize loyalty and are seen as companions in the afterlife. In the Mahabharata, one of the oldest sacred texts, a dog follows a king to the gates of heaven and reveals itself as a divine manifestation. It makes you wonder, what if dogs really are spiritual guardians in our lives? Now think about this. Why would God use how we treat animals as a measure of righteousness? Because how we care for the most vulnerable, those who depend entirely on us, is a mirror of what's truly in our hearts. It's not just about giving them food or shelter. It's about showing compassion, love, and respect for life in all its forms. Every time you pet your dog, care for them when they're sick, or simply offer companionship, you are reflecting the love of God. In those simple gestures, His tenderness and care are made visible. But this responsibility doesn't end with our pets. It extends to all of creation. Every act of kindness toward animals, every effort to protect and respect them, is a living expression of God's divine purpose for us as stewards of the earth. This proverb teaches us that true spirituality isn't measured only in grand actions or public declarations of faith. It reveals itself in everyday moments, in how we treat those completely at our mercy. When we comfort a frightened dog, care for a sick cat, or worry about the well-being of the animals God has placed in our care, we are embodying the kind of heart God wants to see in us: compassionate, merciful, and just. There's a deeper truth here. This proverb reminds us that every act of cruelty hardens the heart, while every act of kindness softens it and brings us closer to the nature of God. When we choose to be compassionate toward animals, we're not just benefiting them. We're cultivating within ourselves the very qualities that reflect God's heart: kindness, patience, mercy, and unconditional love. Another way we see the divine love of our pets is through the powerful stories of love and loyalty between humans and animals. Stories that are not mere coincidences, but tangible manifestations of God's design, living reminders that His love is present in every corner of creation. Surely you've heard of Hachiko, the Japanese dog who waited at the Shibuya train station for 9 years after his owner had passed away. Every single day, Hachiko showed up at the same time, waiting for his beloved human to return. Isn't this a reflection of God's unconditional love, of His unwavering faithfulness? In Hachiko, we see a mirror of divine love, patient, enduring, and steadfast. Let's look at more stories of divine love reflected through dogs. Take Wilson, the jungle hero. Wilson was a Belgian Malinois rescue dog who got lost in the Amazon rainforest while searching for lost children. For the 40 days the children were missing, Wilson didn't just find them, he became their guardian. Rescuers found his paw prints around the spots where the children had rested, suggesting he had been patrolling the area to protect them from predators. His tracks also showed he had led the children to water sources, a behavior that reflects the instinctive wisdom God placed in these animals. Although Wilson never returned, his sacrifice reminds us of Jesus' words: "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." This brave dog chose to remain in the jungle, protecting the children until they were found, regardless of his own safety or comfort. If the stories of Hachiko and Wilson moved you, there are many more that prove how dogs possess a love that transcends time and space. Capitan, an Argentine dog who, after his owner passed away, walked miles to find his grave and stayed by it for over 10 years, displaying unwavering loyalty. Barry, a Saint Bernard who rescued more than 40 people in the Swiss Alps, using his scent and strength to save climbers trapped in the snow. Balto, the Siberian husky who led a dangerous mission to deliver the diphtheria vaccine to an isolated Alaskan village, saving hundreds of children. Each of these stories reminds us that a dog's love is a reflection of divine love, protective, unbreakable, and filled with purpose. Beyond these touching love stories are stories of healing, how dogs have become instruments of God's grace. Modern science is only beginning to understand what God has known all along: the healing power of our canine companions. A recent study from Oxford University revealed that people with dogs experience 60% less anxiety and depression. But the numbers only tell part of the story. Dogs possess a unique healing power, both emotional and physical. Countless people have shared how dogs helped them heal. Therapy dogs have transformed the lives of veterans with PTSD, helping them rediscover peace and emotional stability. These dogs are trained to detect changes in their owner's breathing and heart rate, intervening with physical contact or distraction before a crisis hits. Thanks to them, many veterans have reintegrated into society and regained self-confidence. Children with autism have opened up to the world through the patience and unconditional love of their support dogs. These dogs not only provide companionship, but are trained to recognize signs of anxiety in children, helping them calm down and communicate better. Families who've adopted these dogs have seen incredible improvements in their children's social interaction, something they once thought impossible. Even in hospitals and nursing homes, a dog's presence has restored joy and purpose to those who felt forgotten. Studies show that simply petting a dog lowers cortisol, the stress hormone, and increases oxytocin, the love hormone. In many cases, seniors who barely spoke began communicating again thanks to the comfort of these animals, feeling a renewed desire to live. At St. Jude Children's Hospital, a golden retriever named Max has helped young cancer patients face treatment with more courage. When Max enters a room, reported pain levels drop significantly. Doctors have observed that children who regularly interact with Max require less pain medication. In veteran rehab centers, therapy dogs do more than assist with PTSD. They help rebuild entire lives. John, an Afghanistan veteran, hadn't spoken in 6 months until he met Luna, a specially trained German Shepherd. Today, John not only speaks, he's a passionate advocate for animal-assisted therapy. Dog therapy is also transforming autism treatment. Maria, an 8-year-old girl who avoided eye contact, began looking into the eyes of her support dog Bella, and eventually extended that connection to her family. As her mother put it, Bella was the bridge we needed to reach Maria's world. Beyond their incredible ability to read our emotions, dogs share a special energetic bond with humans. Scientific studies have shown that dogs can detect changes in heart rate, blood pressure, and even stress hormones. This allows them to anticipate anxiety attacks, comfort those with depression, and even detect serious illnesses before doctors do. An extraordinary case is Casper, a golden retriever who saved his owner's life by obsessively sniffing a specific area of her body. After days of unusual behavior, she went to the doctor and discovered a malignant tumor in its early stage. Thanks to her dog's intuition, she received timely treatment and survived. This connection goes beyond the physical. Many people feel their dogs arrive precisely when they need them most, like they were sent by God to offer love and support. A dog's love doesn't end with their physical departure. Their spiritual legacy continues, transforming lives and teaching eternal lessons about God's love. Every memory of their loyalty, every moment of unconditional forgiveness, every shared joy becomes a seed of spiritual transformation in our hearts. When we apply these teachings in daily life, we begin to see the world differently. We become more patient, more understanding, more willing to forgive. We start to see all of God's creatures through new eyes, recognizing in them the reflection of His love and wisdom. Dogs don't just walk beside us. They show us a divine love that heals and transforms. Their sensitivity to human pain, their protective instinct, and their ability to give love without expecting anything in return remind us that we are never alone, that there's always a loving presence watching over us, just like God. Every time you look into your dog's eyes and feel that unconditional love, you're experiencing a reflection of God's love. It's no coincidence they're in your life. They're part of God's plan to draw you closer to Him, to teach you compassion, loyalty, and unconditional love. Your dog is not just a pet. They're a divine gift, a silent teacher imparting lessons on divine love. And every act of care and respect for animals is a form of worship, a way to honor the Creator by caring for His creation. Have you ever felt like your dog was God's instrument in your life? What lessons about divine love have you learned through animals? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to read it. If you want to keep discovering how your dog can transform your life and deepen your spiritual connection, check out this next video where we explore how small daily actions with your pet can raise your vibration and bring you closer to abundance and divine love. Click here. I'll see you there. Don't miss it.